And so, here we are again. This is Gift of the Gab. I am Gabi. I'm teaching you words. This is free training. Compréhension de l'écrit. Compréhension de l'écrit means reading. And I would say, generally speaking, to speak a language, to know a language, to acquire a language, well, first we need the words. Of course, there are many words in common and so on. I work with stuff like that already. And this course here is not grammar. We are looking at words one by one and figuring out what they mean in English, in French. D'accord? Alors, we will take the English understanding. You will get instructions in English towards this French document here. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. We are working on Compréhension de l'écrit 1 from the School of Public Works from l'École de la fonction publique du Canada. Their name comes up right here. Alors, voici. Questions 4, 5 et 6. Le personnel chargé des achats et de la gestion du matériel suivra le cours Achats écologiques offert par l'École de la fonction publique du Canada. L'École de la fonction publique du Canada, on va commencer avec ceci. We are going to commence, we're going to start here. École, une école égale a school. D'accord. La fonction publique is the public service. The public service, which means basically government work. And of course, l'École de la fonction publique du Canada, the School of Public Works in Canada. They generally provide this document that we are learning from here. Alors, public information, it is available to us. Le personnel chargé. Le personnel chargé. Chargé is, or should I say, être chargé de, is to be responsible for. D'accord? What that could mean, perhaps, on pourrait dire que chargé may very well be transformed into to be in charge of. Very clear. Le personnel, the personnel, the staff, in charge of. Les achats. Un achat, fun word. Un achat et purchase. Alors, des achats will transform to purchases. Purchases. We don't really put the des in English, which would be some or those, these. In this case, it's not really those. It would be of purchases. We don't put of some purchases. We don't say that in English, but we do say it that way in French. Le personnel chargé des achats et de la gestion. La gestion is going to be fun. It is a fairly unique word to French parce que there is no T-I-O-N matching word in English. La gestion is management. La gestion du matériel. The management of the material. I don't know what material they're managing. That's not for me to know. Suivra le cours. Alors, I like to put chargé in there because to be responsible for, perhaps that will be very useful to us in life. En général, I am responsible for this. I do that. La gestion is important, but I'm not going to highlight it here. You should want to know words that are relevant to a workplace. Par contre, suivra le cours. I will highlight here. Suivre. Suivre is going to be to follow. To follow. And just generally speaking, SUI is a root from Latin, applicable to French and English. Alors, we could go with, for example, many words that you will see will have suis, suivant, next, a car, a pursuit, d'accord, in English. Alors, SUI means to follow. Pursuit, poursuivre. D'accord? Something like that. Alors, when it comes to suivre le cours, to follow the course. In French, we will attend training, we will take training in English, we will, and so on. Well, en français, we will follow the course. And that is very standard. Not using to follow is not going to be very accurate. D'accord? We need accuracy. Achat écologique. Écologique, ecological, makes sense. Offert par is by. D'accord? Alors, offered by the School of Public Works. Cette formation sera intégrée au prochain plan d'apprentissage individuel. Alors, on va continuer. Cette formation. Cette is going to be this. This, and it will be a feminine thing. Cette formation. Une formation, a formation, it does work like that. But let's say you are attending a class. Maybe we are shaping your mind. D'accord? A form. We are giving it shape. Une forme. La formation, une formation, is going to be training. A training. I will put training, but it's the A I should put in there. We don't really call it a training. We typically go on training or just training. But une formation is a training, if you will. I'm actually going to remove the a training. I'll just put une formation is training. Cette formation, this training. Sera is going to be the future of to be, will be. Intégré, integrated. Why? Well, the 8 verbs are going to be the same. Alors, the 8 verbs are going to be ER, right? Alors, integrated. That 8 is still there in English. It is no longer there en français. Alors, intégré, integrated au prochain plan d'apprentissage. Proche means near. Prochain will mean next. Prochaine will mean also next, feminine or masculine. Le prochain plan, un plan is a plan. Apprendre is to learn. D'accord? Alors, le plan d'apprentissage, apprentissage of learning. The plan of learning. It doesn't sound very common in English, but I definitely get the message. Now, this is how we sound in French. Alors, we do have distinct languages here. Alors, le plan de, the plan. That's pretty clear. I think we can agree that that's pretty clear. But is the plan for? In French, will be the plan of. Le plan apprentissage, l'apprentissage is the learning. And that I will put in small quotes, the learning. D'accord? It does sound a bit odd, but don't let small stuff like that throw you off. Le plan individuel, individual. Very close, I would say. Not really worth mentioning here. D'accord. We already have quite a bit of vocab. I'm going to tidy this up a little bit. Alors, I'm going to take this little list here, and I will put it in green, like my pen often is. Set we want to get into. Here, cette formation. This training here. Of course, there are different options depending on the next word, but I'm not teaching you grammar here. I'm just translating words. I do teach grammar, though. Feel free to reach out if you would like to know more about that. Cette formation ici sera intégrée au prochain plan. We've got proche, prochain. We've got these two sentences here. We got a lot of vocab out of so very little here. Alors, I'm very happy. take a moment, press pause, write those words down. What do I recommend? I always will recommend that you have paper nearby. And on your paper, you make a list. You list them off one by one by one by one by one, and you put the equal sign. Here's a good idea. You could do this with any document. Perhaps you're in school. Do that with your school homework, with your schoolwork. Perhaps you have on your in your team there are special requirements, special vocab, special jargon, the way you guys process things in your team, your specific people, your branch, your division, your work, your job, your career, and so on. Perhaps it's for a future job that you don't really know exactly what to call it because no matter where you went to school, English or French, we didn't talk about stakeholders and meeting minutes and uh, and so on. These terms were not relevant. A lot of the stuff, and talk about training and so on. These are very specific terms. Alors, you might want to pick them up the same exact way. You highlight the words, you look them up. I'm a great source of knowledge, but there are plenty of other sources out there, such as dictionaries. Go for reputable ones. Free dictionaries on the internet. Why bother? I mean, they're all free, pretty much. Alors, let's might as well go for some quality material there. We're gonna move on to more vocab right now. Take a moment and get all this stuff, and I'll see you soon.